You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Onyx Hunt, Final Rise, and Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. And thanks for joining us on episode 88 with David Stover, part 1. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Upland Rookie Podcast. I'm your host, Will Larson, and I'm coming to you from a late June rainy day here in Colorado. We've been having some record-setting rains over the past month and a half, which has been fantastic. I'm sure it's been raining in other parts of the country as well, and you know what that means. It's going to be good for birds this fall. I was talking with my wife the other day, and she said, "Why are you so excited about the rain?" I was like, "This is so good." I was checking some other states and some other areas with their rain forecasts, and I had to explain the whole thing to her on, more rain, more bugs, better food, better habitat for upland birds this fall. So I'm very excited. Hey, before we go too much further, we're going to dive into our sponsors, Onyx Hunt. Guys, Onyx Hunt is the #1 digital mapping software in the world. It is not just something to use when September rolls around. No, it is something to be checking. If you're like me, checking every other day at some point. I'm on Onyx, checking out new areas, dropping pins, trying to reorganize my Onyx right now as well. But it is not just a piece of gear. It's not just a tool that you use. It is, I believe, an essential part of hunting. Whether you hunt big game, small game, birds, turkey, whether you're like off-roading, when you want off-road, you're into jeeping, four-wheel trails, whatever it might be, Onyx Hunt has you covered. They have some amazing software. They have an amazing team over there as well that is just putting together an incredible product that you definitely need to check out. OnyxHunt.com. Use promo code Rookie20 to save you 20% off your Onyx Hunt membership today. Also want to thank Final Rise. Final Rise is making the most premium, high-quality upland gear out there. It is the only vest I will use, and it's going to be the only gun case I throw my over/under 20 gauge in. So making some great gear, gloves, vests, you name it. They got some incredible stuff. Check out Matt Davis and the Final Rise team over at finalrise.com. Also want to thank Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. Guys, Inukshuk, actually on this episode, David and I talk a little bit about Inukshuk. He's been using it as well for his kennel. I've been using it for a couple years now. It's been a great food. I've seen great results with my dogs, great energy, great weight. They're getting the calories, they're getting the nutrition I know they need. They're just making a great product. Check out an Inukshuk reseller near you. It's a great program. It's going to be cheaper than buying it off Chewy, but if you want to buy it off Chewy, feel free to as well. But check out a trusted reseller in your area today from InukshukPro.com. All right, guys, we're going to dive into today's episode. Sorry, my wife is calling me right now. It's the second time she called me in a row. I keep ignoring it. It's because I'm in a roll right now. I'm recording an intro. So hopefully she doesn't call a third time, because that would mean something is up. Hey guys, it is late June. We are getting closer. I think we're 11 weeks now until bird season opens. If you're like me, I'm looking at the target date of September 1st. September 1st cannot come soon enough. I've been diving back into Onyx, checking out maps, talking with some people about plans and what the fall is going to look like. I definitely am still firming up what my fall will look like, probably up until my plans won't be settled until probably late August, to be honest with you. We got a couple things with the family, obviously work stuff, and then my son's hockey schedule, all that stuff. So, but I'm starting to make some rough plans, some rough drafts, you might say, of where I'm going, where I'm headed, what I'm chasing, all that good stuff. So I'm definitely going to be getting out there. Win Engage have been chomping at the bit. So you may have saw a story I posted the other day. I did forget a quail in my Final Rise vest in the back of my drawer system in my truck. And let me tell you, don't forget to check your game vest after you train or after a hunt even. Forgot a quail back there, and it was pretty bad. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna need to clean out this final rise vest. My my deck drawer stinks still. I think it like the odor penetrated the plastic or the whatever it's made out of. Whatever the deck system's made out of, it's inside the drawer now. It's inside the fibers of everything in there. So I don't know what I need to do. Baking soda, something, bleach. I don't know. So if you have any recommendations how to get stink out of a deck drawer, let me know, because it's pretty bad right now. But it's a PSA, public service announcement. Yeah, I got that right. Check your drawers. Check your game vest after you get out and train. Anyways, season's coming. Roading is underway. I've had Win and Gage out a couple days here and there, getting them on the bike, and it's one of my favorite things to do in the summer. Honestly, it's just time with me and the dogs to get some. I know I'm working them to some degree, and I enjoy it as well. I enjoy just going for a couple mile ride, getting them worked. I still have not tried both of them at one time. I'm a little nervous. I don't know if that'll happen this year or not, but I've just been taking them out single rides so far. So, anyways, I'll do probably another episode just on roading. Again, what I do, not saying it's the end all be all, but kind of what I do. I'm in the burbs. I got to get creative. And, but if you want to know more, on the roading stuff, I did an episode with Ryan Mulcahy. Him and I talked a little bit more about roading dogs in depth. Definitely check out that one. I did a solo episode last summer, talking about biking a dog and getting kind of my setup, what I do. But I'll try to do an updated one. I keep getting lots of questions on that pretty consistently throughout the year. So I'll try to throw another episode up there here pretty soon. So anyways, guys, I think that's about it. Yeah, we're going to dive in. We got David Stover from Fit Point Bird Dogs. We talk about his story, upbringing, kennel he started, why he started it, his hunting journey, hunt test, a little bit of NAVDA. And yeah, we just unpack his story. It was a really fun conversation. I love getting to chat with David. He's been on my short list of guests to have on here for quite a while, and I was glad we were finally able to get it worked out and get him on here for an episode. So anyways, stay tuned. Over the summer, I'll have some fun giveaways happening. I got a cool one in the works here. Can't tell you who it's with yet, but stay tuned. We're going to be running that giveaway here through Patreon. So if you're not signed up already, get signed up now. Sorry, Wynn's barking in the background here. She's in her gunner, just staring at me. She's like, let me out. But anyways, get signed up on patreon.com, and I got some really fun giveaways coming up this summer. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoy this episode with David Stover. Do you do a lot of the filming yourself?
All of it.
That's stressful, man.
It is. I say all the time that there's never, if I'm in the field, I've got at least one camera running, but typically there's 2 or 3 different, locations. And what it started as was more of a way for me to be able to, I go back every night and look at the footage of the dogs in the field so I can see if, while my back is turned and I'm flushing that bird, what is that dog doing?
Yeah.
Or, is that dog, especially when I first am transitioning from the gun break to that first bird that we're going to kill over it, my wife will come out, I'll put a drone up just so I can see, is there any flinch? Is there, any type of negative reaction that I need to address before we move forward? And so it's a way for me to keep a check on that, but also too, I get a lot of good footage to do, post social media kind of
so
stuff.
So you're doing kind of like a video review then. You're not just using this for social media. You're actually learning from this, it sounds like.
Yeah, every night. I sit down and, there are times, depending on what it is, especially on the ones where it's the first time I shot a 20 gauge over top of them, because I step from blank 410 sometimes, but usually just go blank 20 gauge. And it's, frame by frame. Did that dog flinch? Did it move? Did it, where's it at? And, so it's just kind of no different than, I guess, watching football film or something else.
Yeah,
you're
going into the film room and going, okay, let's break it down, and that's an interesting little perspective there, or I guess an interesting tool to use.
Yeah, it is, and like you said, good byproduct because I can edit it however I want and use it for whatever. But it's truly did start out and still is a major tool for me. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it,
Will you pretty much do that for any dog you're training, or does the dog have to have? Do you have to have enough confidence in a dog to get the recording equipment out and do some film?
every dog,
Okay.
every dog. Yeah. So, we've got one, I've had two dropped off this week. I've got two that I've just finished. And from the beginning on, it's, I do it. Another byproduct of it as well is I can send, kind of updates of this is what I worked on with pup today to the clients, and kind of let them be a part of it. But yeah, every dog it'll be, and then it gets to the point, where there are those, to me, the pivotal moments, especially, and I keep going back to it, but that first bird, that first live shot over top of it, that, without fail, will video real intensively. And then there may be days, depending on what we're working, it's, hey, they've got this, it's just a little reinforcement. Then, may not have a camera out, but usually we always do.
Sure. So. Wait, this is kind of random, but there's got to be a time when has the filming process gotten in the way? Has there been any fumbles, any mistakes where you're like, why did I break the camera out?
There have been multiple. Usually, so I use a DJI drone, and so they've got the real neat. I can highlight myself on the screen, and it'll just follow me. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put it in a circle pattern over top of me. And there have been times that bird has wanted to flush, and I go to, and there's that drone, like, not right now. Or I've got a camera set on a tripod, and the bird will flush, and it'll be a low flyer, and I'm trying, like, no.
Can't take out that piece of gear.
Nope.
Oh, that's too funny. You're like, hold up.
Yep.
Oh man, again, it's fun to see the progress like you're talking about, and kind of watch some of that stuff back. So I've done a little bit just with my iPhone, just some either camera recording or a couple shots, but it's an extra step for sure. You have to get your brain, just used to preparing for that, and then you have to transition to, okay, we're working the dog or whatever drill you're working on. So I know it's a process for sure.
It is, and it's kind of, when it comes to content stuff, typically I'll have an idea of what I want or what I'm looking for, but it's the training and the dog always take priority. So I may go out and set a camera up in this angle thinking, hey, this will look really good. Dog be able to find a bird, but if, something happens in the meantime, I've got to stop and correct it. Then it is what it is.
Sure.
And it's just, the cool stuff comes secondary to what we're out there for. But it's
absolutely
also too, it's like you said, it goes south, and I'm like, man, I've got all these cameras set up, and all of them recording at the same time. It's just like, man, heck on it.
It's a process. Well, David, let's back up just a second here, and we kind of dove right in, but let's get to know you a little bit more. Tell us who you are, maybe a little bit about yourself, and then put us on a map. Where are you talking to us from?
Okay. David Stover, the owner of Faith in the Point Bird Dogs. We are located in Trafalgar, Indiana. It's about 35 minutes due south of Indianapolis. Kind of by happenstance, I guess, or Lord works in his ways and brought us here. I'm originally from Virginia. My wife is from Washington State. I am a couple months away. September 30th is my actual retirement date from the Army, 23 years. And so,
you say 23 years? Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, 23.
So what a career.
It's been ups and downs, good and bad. But it was time that we started the business in preparation for retirement, thinking that it would take a while to gain traction and to get to the point where it was able to financially support the family. And we were blessed, and it didn't. It kind of took off, and we got to the point where it was, hey, we're either going to need to really stop the momentum with the business side, or go ahead and look at retiring. I had, intended to try to give them till 25 years, and just started crunching numbers, and said that the difference in pension between a 23 and 25 just wasn't worth it to stick around. And the Army sent us here to Camp Atterbury is where we're stationed at. As we've been here about 4 years ago, I'd never heard of the place. Like, who moves to Indiana? I got here and just fell in love, and so decided to grow roots, and that's kind of where we're at.
Wow. And how long have you been in Indiana, in the location you're in now?
Right at 4 years.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, 4 years, which was when we moved here. It was our fourth move in 4 years. We had just
Oh,
moved one place to the next, and it
sure.
was like I'm done with
Yeah,
that.
you're ready to plant some roots, like you
Yes,
said, and
sir.
get the family settled. So
Yeah.
that's awesome, man. Well, let's I know I want to dive into the kennel and starting faith in the point bird dogs and all that stuff, but let's back up even further, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about your love and passion for bird dogs, hunting. Where did that develop? Did that develop later in life? Was that something you grew up with? Like, take us through that journey.
Yeah, hunting in general and outdoors is I grew up around. I got a picture over here on the bookshelf of my pawpaw and I hunting. I was too young to hold the 22, and I remember that day he saw the squirrel and he aimed a gun, and I just reached in and pulled the trigger for him, and that was kind of the start to hunting in general, and then it was small game, big game. Bird hunting stuff was later in life because that's as anybody who runs bird dog knows, that's a financial investment. And
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
yeah, so that definitely came later. I remember I was out deer hunting with my grandpa. We were going into an evening stand, coming across the field, and we flushed a pheasant. And he pointed out, and I'll never forget just the colors of that bird,
Hmm,
raising, coming up, and I was just like, man, it's something that kind of always stuck with me. And then being in the army, it's you can have dogs, but it's just not a good situation for anybody,
sure.
dog or us, with all the moves and whatnot. So once we decided that, hey, we're going to retire, let's start the business. Then it was like, okay, let's get all the dogs.
Hmm.
So then it's like, you start out one or two, and next thing you know, you got a kennel full, and it's just like, when is enough enough?
It snowballs, man. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
Once you get in, it's like you want all of it at once.
Oh yeah. As we look at, so we do, hunt test, AKC, NAVDA, but we're looking at with the extra time that I have retired now, and I air quote this because I don't know how I had time to ever go to work with as busy as I stay
Sure.
now. Looking at crossing into the NGSPA and start doing some horseback field trialing stuff.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like
Oh, cool.
I need dogs that'll range far. I need dogs
Sure.
that'll range close.
For all the
You need the whole
things.
mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man. It's an exciting time to be in. Um, so then once you wanted to start the business and the kennel, did you have any personal dogs prior to that? Or once you kind of decided, hey, this is kind of where we want to go with heading into retirement, is that when you kind of started getting the dogs and that stuff? Or
No, that's when the dogs started multiplying.
okay.
I had a short hair that we trained, hunted with, and so that was our girl. She's still around. The She's kind of the boss around here. But we before the business started to kind of be, we did a breeding with her. Got 5 days within whelp. She started acting funny. Long story short, one of the pups had died in the womb and started to decay, infected the rest of them. So we
Wow.
ended up having to spay her, lost a whole litter to save her. And it's like, hey, she can't breed, but it's a good hunting dog, and that's my girl.
Sure,
So
sure.
and then after that, we're like, okay, hey, let's really kind of find a good, a solid pedigree to start our foundation from or
Sure.
whatnot. And did a lot of search and talked to a lot of different people. Um, and then went down to Georgia. Couple by the name there, Wiley's RBK, Rough on Birds Kennels down in Georgia, Tommy and Debbie Wiley, and went down to get a dog and came back with three. And,
It's funny how that happens.
yeah, I was like, man, we got two in the dog box in the back and one in the cab with us. This is a good recruiting trip.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
there you go. That's funny. Okay, so with the GSPs, then did you kind of know early on, like that was just the dog you were going to get once you started hunting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there any question? Was there any like consideration, or why the GSP?
No, so we looked at, and this goes back years. I mean, back Army days. I grew up Virginia, West Virginia, hunting. Beagles, labs. Waterfowl, beagles. We never personally did it, but big on running the beagles for deer.
Okay.
We ran them for rabbit a lot, squirrel, and then, but I wanted something that had that versatility, but yet a good family, bring it in the house and love it up.
Sure.
And it's just a good all around dog.
Sure.
The ability when it comes to the short hairs where you can have them trained in different areas from blood trail and a deer to, waterfowl retrieve to, upland stuff, just to be able to do all of that with one dog. It just
Sure.
really appealed to me. It was like, that's the way we're going to go when it's time to be an adult and have my own dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of get hooked before you're even hooked, really, before you even have them. With GSPs, this is something again, I know, so I'm big on bloodlines, pedigrees, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With GSPs specifically, were there some pedigrees that, again, you're still looking at ones that you've looked at in the past that are kind of stand out, and what makes them unique, what makes them special? Can you educate me on that a little bit?
Yeah. So for me, and everybody's got, I believe that, everyone who looks at pedigree is looking for something different.
Sure.
For us, I like to see a good mixture of, hunt test stuff, the AKC side. I like to look and see what they have done in NAVDA side, field trial side. And then a big piece for us is the health testing aspect of it. There are a lot of breeders who go and their dogs will perform. But when you start looking at genetics and what is happening down trace of those original dogs, what are we seeing health wise?
Sure.
So I kind of take a look at all of it and, kind of go from there as far as what we're looking for or whatnot. And, I'll be first say a pedigree full of titles doesn't mean that dog's going to hunt or be good.
Sure.
But I think it's an indicator of the ability to get it trained and what the prey drive may be or should be, hopefully.
Sure.
But I think that the testing is a vital part to proving what your dog or what your pedigree and your breeding is still doing or still capable of.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people. I've got a dog here now that the guy who's here from Indiana had driven out to South Dakota to get the dog, and like 3 generations back, there were some titles, and then we just decided we just wanted to start hunting our dogs. We're just hunting people. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with it. But the dog, the pup is here now, and I've never spoken to the breeder. Don't know anything about him other than what I'm seeing on the pedigree. But the dog is soft. There's a lack of prey drive there, and it could be an individual thing, but. As I told the owner, I was like, I would like to see everybody's different definition of a good hunting dog is different.
Sure.
Right. So what does that mean? And again, the pedigree from my point of view isn't going to say that you've got a rock solid dog there just because there are 4 generations of master hunters and,
sure.
National champions and so forth. But there's an indication that, hey, that breeder is still working to make sure that their dogs are able to go out there and train and compete and produce at the highest level, so to speak.
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. I've heard someone else put it as it's an odds game, and looking at titles or winning in any of the games, horseback, whatever it is, could give yourself a little bit better odds, right? Because there's going to be, like you said, one pup out of a litter might be phenomenal, the rest might be okay, or vice versa. And so I think it's giving yourself the best chance for a solid, solid hunting dog.
No, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. I mean, for you then, like for your personal dogs, let's say, what are some things that your definition of a great hunting dog? Like, what are your definitions for your own personal dogs? What are some markers? What are some things that you would say, hey, for a great hunting dog, here are the qualities that my dogs have?
Yeah. So for us, foundationally look at the health test. So before we'll breed, they've all got to pass. We do a full tick certification on all of them. So all the GSPCA recommended health tests, get them done, get them back as long as they're clear and good. Strong health background for the parents. So hopefully that will be able to kind of mitigate genetic issues, health issues or whatnot. But a dog that is trainable, that is personable. And there's a lot of really solid dogs out there that, aren't really good house pets. They keep them in a kennel and they train them, they compete with them, and that's where they go back. But as a father of, a couple of girls running around the house here, I want a dog I can come in and love up, and girls can dress up, sure. All the craziness stuff that goes on. But then when you take them out of the house, everybody talks about that switch that can flip in a dog,
Hmm.
but it's something we truly do look for. I mean,
Yeah.
dogs around here in the house or in the front yard, backyard, just playing around, they're different dogs. But as soon as they see me walking over to the bird field
Hmm.
or pull the side by side around, it's like it's switched. They don't play.
It's work
Right,
time.
and
It's time to go to work.
that's it. And that's kind of what we look for. It was funny this last hunting season. I guided a hunt for a guy, and he for quail. He lives in an apartment building. He was like, "Hey, they're going to get real mad if I clean these birds there. Can I, come back to your place?" And I was like, "Sure." So we were just a couple miles down the road. Brought him back, and I'd let the dogs out of the box, and they were just kind of playing around in the yard. And he was like, "Well, what dogs are these? Those aren't the ones I hunted over." I was like, "Yeah, they are." He was like, "Well, they run different." I was like, "Yeah, they're in a different mindset right now.
They're in their office. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just playing and having a good time now." But that is one of the things that I look for, as far as a good solid dog.
Sure.
That's know what we're supposed to do, time and place kind of thing. And then in the field, I like a dog that'll check in, decent, that is confident enough to go out and hunt on its own, but also smart enough to understand that it's hunting for me.
Hmm.
And a lot of that's trained, right?
Sure.
Because they go through puppy phases and they want to go off and do their thing, but it's being able to reel them back in and get that connection with them where they understand that, hey, I'm working for him. I'm just not going to go and do whatever it is I want to do.
Sure.
Situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, David, I think you are my first guest from Indiana, by the way, or at least I'm talking to someone from Indiana.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. Got to ask you, is there any wild bird hunting in Indiana?
There is.
I'm
not
there?
going to tell you where.
No. Don't tell us where.
There is.
Don't tell us where.
No. There is. When I first moved here, and even to this day, you hear the stories of what it was 10, 15 years ago. And since I had been here for 4 years, I said I can go out and spend a lot of time. Indiana has several wildlife management areas that are run by the state. They do put on some pretty good state-run put and takes for pheasant throughout the year. We do a lot of deer hunting out there. And over the last 2 years, I've been able to flush a couple coveys of wild quail. So, which is encouraging because it's starting to come back.
Oh, wow.
On the Camp Atterbury side, there are wild quail everywhere. The problem with it is that Camp Atterbury manages, as with a lot of the state of Indiana, they manage it for the deer and turkey hunt.
Okay.
And so they'll come in and strip those fields 2 days, a week before opening day of bird season every year. And it's, nothing you can do. Wild pheasant, we've got, small pockets of, and, there's kind of a strip that runs, western side of the state, and a lot of it's private land, but there are some public stuff you can get into.
Okay. And just to clarify, the quail are not put and take. Quail are just wild quail.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wild quail, and like I said, there are pockets of the wild pheasant as well.
Sure.
That's
encouraging.
That's nice.
It's not something I didn't know if there's any true wild birds in the state, but that's encouraging.
It is. I think, as me, newer to the state, right? It's, I don't know what it was. I know what it is.
Sure.
I see the regulations and laws as far as predators. I think the state could do a lot more in terms of helping the wild population.
Sure.
In terms of predator control. Coyotes, bobcats, out of control around here.
Oh, really?
So you got that. Turkeys, a huge population, and there's a whole argument in the state over the fact that Indiana brought these turkeys in from Missouri. They did a swap.
Oh.
And, we know how, turkeys are hard on brooding quail.
Sure.
So, there's a lot of things that we could do better in order to bolster those populations and get them back up.
Sure.
Hopefully in the next few years, we'll see a shift.
But I'm sure that, like you said, the deer and turkey that's where the money comes in for license sales and all that stuff, and so that's kind of, I have some family in northern Indiana, and again, deer hunting is the thing to do. You don't hear of many. I mean, you hear some turkey hunters, but you don't hear of any bird hunters. It's deer, and that's all they hunt.
Yeah. So. No, it definitely is. The deer hunting here is I have killed bigger deer than I've ever killed or seen in my life here. Like, it's a blessing.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
at the same time,
So if you're a deer hunter, that's a different story.
that's it.
Yeah. That's awesome. David, talk to me about, we kind of danced around it earlier a little bit. Talk to me about starting Faith in the Point kennels. Where did that dream come from? Where did that really start for you?
For us, it was just you know, we love our dogs. We want to be able to share that with other people, and especially if we can share, good dogs that are just a joy to be around. But also too, you can go out and have a lot of fun in the field, for a good long day of bird hunting. I've yet to take anyone bird hunting for the first time. They didn't bite and get the bug and just absolutely fall in love. So, the ability to combine those two. And then as I looked to transition out of the Army, it was I've got a degree in history education, but I have no desire to go and teach. And I was like, but I still like to teach, and dogs are pretty teachable and they don't talk back. So that's kind of where that came. And it was, trying to get the name out and, hey, can I train your dog? Like, this would have done for mine and whatnot. And then, one becomes two becomes four, and just word of mouth has been huge as far as the training side of things goes.
Sure.
In terms of the business side of it, I think a problem a lot of people have when they're starting a business is naming, right? What do we name this thing, right? And what is it going to be about? What are your core values? What is the foundation you're going to build this off of? For us, it was our faith. So, Faith in the Point, it's, it originated from, I was guiding a couple hunts for some friends, and both of them, 2 different times, different locations, dogs are on solid points and they're kicking around. It's like, bird's not here, your dog's crazy. And no sooner than they'd say that, bird flushed up right out from underneath of them. It's like, look, man, you got to have faith in my dogs. So that kind of stuck, but also to our religious faith. We wanted to be able to show that off, and we have been extremely blessed in order to be able to do this and to live this life that we do. And, any way that we can to spread his word, his love, and get his glory out there, the better. And we understood that by taking that stance and building it on our actual faith, that it was going to limit some clientele. It was going to push some people away, but we're willing to be okay with that.
Sure.
Right. Because we also just realize we're never going to get rich training dogs, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we're, as long as we're comfortable and happy and,
Sure.
and, doing the Lord's work, then, hey, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it just so kind of happened at the same time I had entered into Bible college and seminary at the same time. So it was like, hey, let's also, use this to be able to publish our, devotionals and,
Sure.
kind of tie it back in a relatable way to the outdoorsmen and the bird hunters out there.
Sure.
And so that's kind of where the ultimate start of the business and how it, the Faith in the Point came to be, and kind of what
I
we
love that,
stand
man.
on.
I love that you're blending, again, obviously two big parts of my life, bird dogs and my faith. Blending those two things together. I mean, what a combo! What a combo to be able to do that again with who you are and your family and your faith, but also then throw in, hey, we're training bird dogs, but also there's so much more to that that you can blend in. I think that's super cool. Curious when you kind of mentioned that a little bit. Again, your business name, let's just say what it is, might deter some people from having you train their dogs. Have you ever ran into any issues with that, or has anyone ever said, hey, because, or has that not been an issue?
No, I've actually, I take that back. Social media is a monster in and of itself. I think it's,
what do you mean?
Yeah, it's hugely beneficial, but also too, I feel like sometimes I spend more time moderating comments and deleting comments and just kind of separating myself from that.
Sure.
So I've never had we've received some, DM, some direct messages to us, hey, how are you out there putting this word out? And, this other belief or this other faith is what you should, and you're going to have that. And that's okay. For me, that's just an opportunity for me to, either one, let's talk about this and let's let you, I might learn something about your faith or, your perspective, but, let me share with you where I'm coming from with this and let me
Sure.
show you. So it's an opportunity to engage in conversation. But I said, I've never, other than that kind of stuff or the random comments.
Sure.
On the other side of it, though, there's seldom a day that I don't get a message or a comment or an email that, hey, I needed to hear that today, which you posted, and I love what you're doing. This is so inspirational, and those are the ones that make it all worth it. And it's hey, no matter how many of the other stuff goes on,
all you need is
a
couple of those positive ones, man, just to see, again, with the impact it's having on someone. That could be one person, that could be a whole family, whoever it might be. Those are the things, like you're saying, make it so worth it.
Yeah, and it does. And on the other, side too, we have gained clients, excuse me, be it, individuals, family buying puppies from us, and we only breed one, maybe 2 litters a year, just depending on what our females are doing. But be it training, be it, puppies or whatnot, people, hey, I really respect your faith aspect, and I want you to train our pups, or I want a pup to come from you because of that. And that's encouraging as well, that, of all the choices out there, that it's the faith that drew them in.
Sure.
And,
that's cool.
That unapologetic stance that we take on it.
Yeah.
So.
I love that, man. We'll keep it up. Keep it up.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I got to ask you this. So no one just becomes a dog trainer overnight. No one just starts a kennel overnight. Where did you learn, some of your training methods from? Who kind of helped develop you as a dog trainer?
The Army? No, I'm just joking.
I'm sure part of that, right? Discipline, hard work. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time as a drill sergeant. So there's always, I think the thing that I always go back to in the field working with the dog is that working with the drill sergeant or being a drill sergeant, and each private was different. So I had to interact with them differently, just like every dog that I get in the field is different. 2 litters ago, we kept a male and a female for ourselves out of that litter, and completely 2 different dogs and 2 different styles in the field and training methods I had to use. But outside of that, it's just been a kind of I'm a huge sponge and try to be the most humble person in the world. And if there's somebody who's ever thought about training a dog, I'm going to listen to them and, hear their thoughts, their tactics, things that they have used, things they have seen. And it may be something that I may never use, but I'm going to put it in the tool bag. And I may have that one dog that I can't get through to. And hey, I'm going to pull that back out and let me see if that'll work. And so, just like everybody else, you read, a bunch of books. I got, I think probably old Gun Dog with Walters.
Oh yeah.
Probably on every
I got that one right up above me here.
Yeah. So that, watch internet is great because there's a plethora of information out there. And with that, there's a lot of caution that has to be taken, because if you got an iPhone and a dog, you can be a dog trainer.
half of America is.
Yeah. And it's, I had a joke with a mutual friend of ours at Inniskshook the other day, and he was like, everybody's got a podcast these days.
That's pretty true. You got a computer, and that's about all you need.
That's it. And, so it's really just kind of, I've got a lot of great mentors that I reach out to regularly and talk to, and hey, how do you do this? How do you go about it? Have you experienced this? Darrell Smith, Sporting Life Notebook, we've gone back and forth for quite some time.
Sure.
Old Rooster over here, excuse me, with Just Hounds. There's a core group of people that we kind of bounce ideas off of one another.
Sure.
And, we've got some, I've met a lot of great contacts that people that I would probably never really associate with outside of the dog training world,
Sure.
Just complete opposite ends of the spectrum from us, be it faith, be it politically, be it whatever.
Sure.
Right. But it's nice that the dogs are the level ground, that we come together and it's, hey, let's hold this conversation and, let's learn from each other.
Yeah.
It's been really great.
Yeah. That's so cool. Would you say, what could someone expect, by sending their dog to you? I guess maybe a twofold question here. What's kind of like your program for a typical dog? And then second half of that is, I guess what would you compare if someone asks, hey, David, what's your method or what's your style? Do you have any known trainer out there that it would compare to, or is it just kind of really your own method? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. And I get asked that a lot, actually. And I'm always, um, I don't know that I've ever given the same answer twice, because I don't know that
It changes
I've
daily.
kind of it's sat down and like, hey, this is a major influence, because depending on what dog it is, it may be the Smith method, it may be some Standing Stones kind of stuff, it may be some down south Ferris Miller type stuff. It's just whatever works for that dog in that moment, kind of thing. And for me, it's awkward when this pro train, like, no, I'm just a guy who has been blessed to have put out some pretty good dogs and had some luck and some good outcomes out there.
Sure.
Like, every day is learning for me, and it's so I kind of always shy away and get all awkward about this pro thing. But it's for us, program wise, a lot of it depends on the background of the dog.
Sure.
What experience it has, what exposure to birds, to other trainers, and so forth. But so if I get say a new puppy, no exposure, right? I say that at a bare minimum, like, I want them to be able to leave out of here able to enter into an AKC hunt test and achieve a junior hunter title, which admittedly is not that difficult, right? You've got to have a dog that'll listen to you in the field, that can find birds, will hold a point until they get the handler gets within shotgun range, right? As with the regulation, the rules state, and that's very what is shotgun range kind of deal.
Sure.
But I expect the dog to hold until I flush, and then still better hold. So that's kind of what we do. In that, for a new pup, those 30 days, I don't want to push them too hard, especially depending on how old they are.
Sure.
I want them to training sessions need to be short. They need to be light and fun. I'll try to incorporate a couple times a day, hands on them, think yard work, the basic obedience, the heel. I'm huge on teaching place. The use of a place board, I think it is extremely beneficial for a lot of things. For one, here in the house, we use them. I've got place boards sitting right here beside my desk. Good place to send the dogs. Like, hey, place. They go. They're out of the way. They know that that's their spot.
Sure.
In the field as well, if I've got the dogs out dove hunting in the morning, I want them to stay put, and I can kind of let them know this is your place. Sit down and stay until I release you.
Sure.
And then I use the place boards to assist in the retrieving side of things. So dog comes in, I'll start working place board with just simple recall. And so every time that they come, they're coming into my non-firing side. I'm standing on that side of a place board, and that's where they return to. Well, we transition from that into throwing a bumper with them. So now they're retrieving that bumper into that, good heel position on that place board, which then transitions in the field that they're bringing that bird in on a retrieve back into that good position. So I work a lot of that kind of stuff in the yard. And then depending on what phase we're at in the field, maybe it's gun breaking or, whatever the situation may be as we progress through. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that one of the things that I'm biggest on is, before I bring a dog in, is sitting down and actually trying to ascertain what the end state and goals are of that owner. What is it that you're looking for? Sure. What is your experience? What is your capability to maintain or to continue to train a dog or reinforce what they've learned here through the rest of the off season and into the actual hunting season, and actually during that, because I think it's social media, it's people. We hear a lot of terms out there that, I want a dog that's steady to wing shot and fall. I want a dog that's this. That is great. I can get your dog there. Sure. I've got a whole string of them that we've done, but there's also too, especially if it's a younger dog, there's a lot of work that goes to get that to become muscle memory and just what the dog does, right?
Sure.
Because the first time you let a dog creep or you let it break, now you're allowing a bad habit to start to form.
Sure.
And so trying to talk to individuals and say, what is it that you can realistically, expect to maintain and, moving forward.
Is it pretty common for owners to come in, again, that first conversation from their side saying, I want the moon, I want steady wing shot, fall, release, all that. In your conversations, is it pretty common to those goals get back down a little bit to based on their experience, or?
Yes and no. I've had some that I've, kind of able to walk it back. Had a situation, had a guy call me. I typically stay pretty booked up for training. Right now, through the rest of the year, I can't take any more dogs. I've committed to too many. I have a problem with saying no. And, so I had a guy reach out back late September, early October, wanting me to work a dog for him, young pup. He was like, I've never had a bird dog. I've never bird hunted. I want to get into it. I've got, a couple of young boys that I want to teach. And he was one of the ones that reached out. He's a former veteran. And because of the faith, he was like, I've seen your stuff. And he was like, I want you to be the one to work the dog. I said, great. Love to do it. It's going to be February before I can, get the dog in, just time wise. And so in the meantime, he had joined the local Pheasant Quail Forever chapter. He joined an NABDA chapter and just getting excited and, doing the right things, right? Trying to become a part of the community and learn. Well, then he comes in and he was like, I want the dog steady to wing shot and fall. I want it backing. Basically what he's describing is like a master hunter standard. And I was like, hey, we can do that. One, your time frame of how long and budget for how long he had to be able to me to have a dog was kind of limiting anyway. But so I tried to talk to him about it, but he was adamant. No, this is what I want. Okay, let's do it. So I'd say 6 weeks in, had the dog in a really, really good spot. Like, dog's a lot of fun to hunt over. And I was like, look, meet me at a local hunting preserve. I want to show you where we're at. Took some birds with me. I planted 10 quail. I said, the first 5, I want to show you what you're going to have to do throughout this first season, because the dog was real young. If you want to be able to maintain that level of steadiness that you're looking for. And then, the next 5 will let you hunt the way you want to. And so we go out, the dog slams a point and he shoots. Dog goes to break before give it the release command. So I stop, pick the dog up, put it back, make it hold. Dead bird, fetch here, release. It brings it in, it drops it early. So I pick it up, do a little hold condition drill with it, put it back in the side. We go to find the next bird. And there was a different problem. I forget what it was. But anyway, after 2 or 3 of these birds, he was like, you're still working? I was like, yes, because as soon as you let the dog creep, it's going to think that's okay. And so he was like, yeah, I don't know. So then we went the next 5. I was like, just hunt as you would, right? Just have fun. And went out there and he was like, yeah, you were right. I don't have the knowledge or time to be able to do that. This dog hunts really good and I just had a blast. Can I take her home now? Yes, you can take your dog home.
That's good.
And I always tell them, it's not me trying to, because I can't. It's just I don't want it to be a situation where, they've invested a lot of time and money into a dog to get it trained. And then, 6, 9 months, a year later, this dog doesn't listen to anything. I've wasted my money and, daggone faith in the point. Like, no, let's be realistic about what you're able to do on your own.
Yeah. I mean, realistic expectations and goals, because we might, as a new hunter, I can do this. Anyone can do this. You get excited. You see something online. I want my dog like that. But then you got to back up and go, okay, do I have the capability to, like you're saying, reinforce that? Do I have, a whole bunch of things go into that. Hey, that is a wrap of episode 88, part 1, with my conversation with David Stover. Be sure to check out part 2, dropping in just a few days for the rest of our conversation. We tackle more about a bunch of training questions, starting dogs on birds, and field trials, hunt tests, and a little bit of NAVDA. We don't go too deep into that, but we wrap this conversation up in a couple days. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the podcast. Get episode 2 coming out very, very soon. David, thank you so much, brother. It was great getting to know you. We got one more episode dropping with you, so everyone stay tuned. Hey, if you have not already, we are so close. We are so close to 200 reviews on Apple Podcasts. That is, I think, pretty good. I'm pretty proud of the reviews and what this podcast has meant to each and every one of you. So if you have not already, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review. I think we're 5 or 6 away from 200, which I think is a pretty cool milestone. I may even throw a hat out there, or a couple hats maybe. Once we get over 200, maybe that 200th person will get some stickers and a hat coming your way. So be sure to head over, leave a rating and review. I read every single one of those. It kind of lets me know, how is this podcast impacting or helping someone in some way. So I love reading those. Keep them coming in. It really helps the podcast keep growing. The whole algorithms with Apple and Spotify to some degree just helps get the podcast out there to more bird hunters and dog lovers just like you. So guys, until next time, go put some miles on those boots and follow your favorite bird dog. Take care.